the high face of the Buddha teacher is difficult to discern through the idol of the Buddha. Even more unexpected is it to encounter and recognize beautiful passages about Jesus in the Tibetan mountains. A Buddhist monastery preserves the teachings of Jesus, and the lamas pay homage to Jesus, who passed through and taught here. If anyone doubts the existence of such documents about the life of Christ in Asia, it means they do not understand how widespread the Nestorians were in their time and how many so-called apocryphal legends they spread in ancient times, and how much truth the Apocrypha hold. The Lamas know that Jesus, passing through India and the Himalayas, did not appeal to the Brahmins and Kshatriyas, but to the Shudras, the working people, and the humiliated. The records of the Lamas remember how Jesus exalted the woman, the mother of the world. The Lamas point out how Jesus was negative about the so-called miracles. The records of the Lamas say that Jesus was killed not by the Jewish people, but by representatives of the Roman government. The empire and the rich, the capitalists, killed the great communitarian, who brought light to the working people and the poor, the path of the feet of light. Let us listen to what they say about Christ in the Himalayas. In manuscripts that are about 1,500 years old, one can read, Issa, Jesus, secretly left his parents and went with merchants from Jerusalem to the Indus for the improvement and study of the laws of the teacher. He spent time in the ancient Indian cities of Jagannath, Rajagriha, Benares. Everyone loved him. Issa lived in peace with the Vaishyas and Shudras, whom he taught. But the Brahmins and Kshatriyas told him that Brahma forbade him to approach those created from his womb and feet. The Vaishyas can listen to the Vedas only on holidays, and the Shudras are forbidden not only to be present at the reading of the Vedas, but even to look at them. Shudras are only obliged to serve forever as slaves of the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. But Issa did not listen to the speeches of the Brahmins and went to the Shudras to preach against the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. He strongly rebelled against the fact that a man arrogates to himself the right to deprive his neighbors of human dignity. Issa said that man has filled the temples with abomination. To please stones and metals, man sacrifices people in whom a particle of the higher spirit dwells. Man humiliates those who work in the sweat of their brow in order to gain the favor of a parasite sitting at a luxuriously set table. But those who deprive their brothers of common bliss will be deprived of it themselves, and the Brahmins and Kshatriyas will become Shudras of the Shudras, with whom the higher spirit will abide forever. The Vaishyas and Shudras were amazed and asked what they should do. Issa said, "Do not worship idols. Do not always consider yourself first, and do not humiliate your neighbor. Help the poor, support the weak. Do not do evil to anyone. Do not desire what you do not have, but what you see in others." Many, upon learning of these words, decided to kill Issa. But Issa, warned, left these places at night. Then Issa was in Nepal and in the Himalayas. "Perform a miracle," the temple servants told him. Then Issa said, "Miracles have been happening since the first day the world was created. He who does not see them is deprived of one of the best gifts of life. But woe to you, opponents of people, woe to you if you expect him to testify to his power with miracles." Issa taught not to try to see the eternal spirit with our own eyes, but to feel it with our heart and to become a pure and worthy soul. Not only do not perform human sacrifices, but also do not slaughter animals, for this would be stealing from your neighbor. Do not deceive, lest you be deceived yourself. Do not worship the sun. It is only a part of the world. As long as the peoples had no priests, the natural law ruled them, and they preserved the purity of their souls. And I say, be afraid of all that leads astray from the true path and fills people with superstitions and prejudices, blinds the sighted, and preaches worship of objects. Issa was 29 years old when he arrived on his return to the land of Israel. Issa taught, do not despair, do not leave your home, do not destroy the nobility of your feelings, do not worship idols, be filled with hope and patience. You will raise the fallen, give food to the hungry, help the sick, in order to be completely pure and righteous on the last day, which I am preparing for you. If you want to do deeds of goodness and love, do them with a generous heart. Let there be no hope of profit or commercial calculation in these actions. Acts of profit and calculation will not bring you closer. Then Pilate, the ruler of Jerusalem, ordered the preacher Issa to be seized and brought to the judges, without, however, arousing the displeasure of the people. But Issa taught, do not seek direct paths in the darkness and under fear, but gather strength and support each other. He who supports his neighbor strengthens himself. Do you not see that the powerful and the rich sow the spirit of rebellion against the eternal heavenly consciousness? I tried to restore the laws of Moses in the hearts of people, and I tell you that you do not understand their true meaning, for they teach not revenge, but forgiveness. But the meaning of these laws has been perverted. The ruler became angry and sent his disguised servants to Issa to watch all his actions and report on his words to the people. Righteous man, the disguised servants of the ruler of Jerusalem said to Issa, teach us, should we fulfill the will of Caesar or expect a near liberation? But Issa, recognizing the disguised servants, said, I did not predict to you that you will be freed from Caesar. I said that the soul, immersed in sin, will be freed from it. Meanwhile, an old woman approached the crowd, but was pushed away by one of the disguised men. Then Issa said, honor the woman, the mother of the universe. In her lies the truth of creation. She is the foundation of all that is good and beautiful. She is the source of life and death. The existence of man depends on her, for she is the support of his labors. She gives birth to you in pain. She watches over your growth. Until her death, you cause her suffering. Bless her, honor her. She is your only friend and support on earth. Honor her, protect her. Love your wives and respect them, for they will be mothers tomorrow, and later, the foremothers of all generations. Their love makes a man noble, softens hardened hearts, and tames the beast. A wife and mother is a priceless treasure. They are the adornment of the universe. From them will be born all that inhabits the world. Just as light is separated from darkness, so a woman possesses the gift of separating good intentions from evil thoughts in a man. Your best thoughts should belong to a woman. Draw from them the moral strength you need to help your neighbor. Do not subject her to humiliation, for by doing so, you will only humiliate yourself. By doing so, you will lose that feeling of love, without which nothing exists here on earth. Bring honor to your wife, and she will protect you. Everything you do for a mother, wife, widow, or other woman in grief, you do for the Spirit. Thus Issa taught. But the ruler Pilate, frightened by the people's devotion to Issa, who, if his opponents are to be believed, wanted to raise the people, ordered one of the spies to accuse him. Issa, thinking only of the happiness of his brothers, endured suffering. Issa said, "The time is not far off when, by the higher will, the people will be purified, for there will be a proclamation of the liberation of the peoples and their unification into one family." And then he turned to the ruler. "Why do you debase your dignity and teach your subordinates to live in falsehood when you already have the opportunity to accuse an innocent man?" Thus are legends and myths created. The Buddhists preserve such a high and universal image of Jesus in their mountain monasteries. It is not surprising that the teachings of Christ and Buddha bring all peoples together into one family, but it is surprising that the bright idea of the community is expressed so easily and scientifically and flows into the great community of all worlds. The precepts of Jesus and Buddha lie on the same shelf, and the signs of ancient Sanskrit and Pali unite the search. Another, lesser-known source also speaks of the life of Jesus in Tibet. Near Lhasa, there was a temple of teachings, rich in manuscripts. Jesus wanted to see them for himself. Mingstay, the great sage of the whole East, was in this temple. After much time, with great dangers, Jesus and his guide reached this temple in Tibet. Both Mingstay and all the teachers opened the gates wide and welcomed the Jewish sage. Mingstay often talked with Jesus about the coming age and the sacred duty accepted by the people of this age. Finally, Jesus reached the mountain pass, and in the main city of Ladakh, Leh, he was joyfully received by monks and people of low status. And Jesus taught in monasteries and in bazaars. Where the common people gathered, that's where he taught. Not far away lived a woman whose son had died, and she brought him to Jesus. And in the presence of many people, he laid his hand on the child, and the child stood up healthy. And many brought children, and Jesus laid hands on them, healing them. Jesus spent many days among the Ladakhis. He taught them how to heal and how to turn the earth into a heaven of joy. And they loved him. When the day of departure came, they were sad, like children. And in the morning, many came to say goodbye to him. Jesus kept repeating, "I came to show human possibilities. All that I do, all people can do. And what I am, all people will be." These gifts belong to the peoples of all countries. They are the water and bread of life. Jesus said of the skilled singers, "Where do their talents and this power come from?" In one short life, they certainly could not have accumulated both the quality of voice and the knowledge of the laws of consonance. Are these miracles? No, for all things come from natural laws. Many thousands of years ago, these people already developed their harmony and qualities, and they come again to learn from all kinds of manifestations. After the life image of Jesus preserved in Asia, one cannot help but recall the words of Eusebius in his work, The Life of Constantine. In order to make Christianity more attractive to the nobility, the priests adopted the external vestments and decorations used in pagan cults. Anyone who knows the cult of Mithra will appreciate the fairness of this remark. A devoted Neoplatonist, a venerator of ancient philosophy, Clement of Alexandria instructed Christian bishops, "Ignorance. Russian princes perished in the Khan's headquarters for their unwillingness to honor the image of Buddha. At the same time, the monasteries of Tibet already kept beautiful lines about Jesus. Cyril of Alexandria destroyed the ascetic Hypatia, but it was to her student, Synesius, that the bishopric of Ptolemais was offered, even before he was baptized. Superstition. Jerome advised newly converted Christians to trample on the body of their pagan mother. Cynicism. Pope Leo exclaimed, "How useful is this parable of Christ to us